All right. So once again, welcome to this quarterly edition of the Mayor's Bicycle Advisory Commission. We do have a jam-packed agenda for you guys. Hopefully it's very informative, and there will be opportunity for you to participate by providing any feedback or asking any questions that you have based upon the information that will be presented today. Let's go ahead and jump over to the agenda slide. So let's talk about the commission updates. We're going to talk about the DOT Planning Division Work Plan, the Vision Zero Action Plan, the BMC Bikeable Baltimore Regional Update, and community updates and events. So, the commission update. For those folks who have been paying attention, if you go to the MBAC website, we still have the application process, or application portal is still available. We are still undergoing the application process. Once we have a full quorum of folks that we feel are great participants or great candidates for these commissioner positions, we will then go through the approval process and also the appointment process by having them signed with Mayor Scott. Ellen, give me a quick second and I'll get back to you. We will be able to provide an update on the commissioner roster at the next meeting because we did receive some great candidates thus far, but we are still opening it up to make sure that we are reaching across a broad spectrum of participants. Alan, go ahead and ask your question. Can someone assist Alan in coming off of mute?
I'm having, okay,
There we go, Alan, I can hear you. All right, seems like we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, so we'll be able to share that information a little bit more because we actually did receive a lot of good applicants. If you're interested, Matt, just go ahead and submit your application and we will get back to you and let you know a little bit more information on that. All right. It appears that we were having a little bit of technical difficulty with Ellen, so I will ask Ellen to hold her question and we will have the opportunity to come back to this a little bit later. Let's go ahead on to the next slide. All right. With this, I am going to turn it over to Mr. Sean Burnett to kind of talk to us a little bit about the DOT Planning Division's 2025 work plan.
Thank you, Alan. Hello, everyone. For those who are not familiar with who I am, my name is Sean Burnett, and I am the Capital Planning Chief for Baltimore City Department of Transportation. So what we wanted to start today with sharing with everyone was our DOT 2025 work plan. We are currently assembling this document, getting approvals, trying to make this the best, most transparent document that we can before publicly sharing it. We will be giving people more information about when to expect this, but this will contain all of our planned capital and planning projects for the fiscal year of 2025. We can go to the next slide. I think what we're going to walk through right now are a number of projects that are specific to multimodal and cycling infrastructure in Baltimore City that are planned or underway for this year. Right now, we currently have the Big Jump. This is the second phase. We are working on doing some of the design for the upgrades. We're going to be looking at how and what the best way to take some of the temporary barriers and make them semi-permanent. This is a step towards making the Big Jump kind of like a final, fully constructed, fully realized project. We're also working on the Druid Park Lake Drive. This is the federally funded large-scale project. We are looking at doing some modifications to the connection between the neighborhoods and Druid Hill Park. We are looking at including plenty of multimodal aspects, as well as pedestrianized aspects. So this will be another big project that we'll have more information on soon, and ways that the community can interact with us and tell us what they're looking for. I think we can go to the next one. Great. Utah Place. This is a separated bike facility. This goes from Druid Park Lake Drive to West Monument Street. This is also currently in design. All of these projects, by the way, will be listed on our Streets of Baltimore pages. All of those can be followed for more information. I just want to make sure I made that clear before we kind of went through all of these. We're also working on the Greenway, a number of Greenway Trails projects. This is Druid Hill Park to Lake Montebello. This will be a 2.8-mile multi-use trail that ends all the way, it goes from Druid Hill Park all the way to 33rd and Hillen, almost at Lake Montebello. This project will be going from 30% designs to 100% designs with the hope of funding construction in the immediate future. That project will we'll report out more on that project as we kind of get closer to some of these milestones. I think we can go to the next one. We also have the Boston Street Connector. This is a 0.3-mile trail segment on Boston Street between Potomac and Conkling, as well as the intersection of Haven and O'Donnell. This is going to be part of the connective work that we're doing prior to the Norfolk Southern acquisition, before we kind of start to tie that part of East Baltimore up north through the Greenway Trails project. And then we also have the Jones Falls Gateway, which is a multi-use trail and upgrades to the Falls Road and Landvale Street. This will stretch from the CSX underpass all the way to Charles. For those of you who are familiar with Baltimore Bike Works, this will be a facility right next to Baltimore Bike Works. And so that will also be in planning this year. We're also working on our Middle Branch project. This is a 0.65-mile shared use path in South Baltimore. It will reach from Stockholm Street in the Casino and Entertainment District to Solo Gibbs Park. This is going to stretch up through Otterbein, connecting that like large harbor kind of like shared use path all the way down to the Casino District. And the future improvements that will be coming down there. We're really excited about putting that forward and finalizing that design. We also have the Harford Road bike lane. This is the second phase. We are looking at taking the existing quick build infrastructure that's there and doing hardening. That will include some concrete curbing, some medians, and a big one is going to be finalizing the designs and working on our shared stops. So that will also be in planning. I think we can go to the next one. We're also working on the Johnson Square Complete Streets project. This is a complete streets like suite of improvements along East Preston and East Biddle Streets. So this is also in design, but this will include, of course, some multimodal facilities if necessary. We're also working on a very large project that I think a lot of people are very excited about. This is the Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard side path. This is in engineering. We have some designs from a couple of years ago that we're dusting off. We're going to start finalizing those and looking specifically at bringing those up to 100% designed so that we can construct this. This will be a great connective tool, moving from the north to the south along Martin Luther King, connecting, the stadium district, as well as the casino district, up all the way to, the almost to Bolton Hill. We're also working on our Towards Zero traffic safety improvements. Not all of these are specific to bicycle infrastructure. However, They are going to be safety improvements that will look at increasing the kind of intersection designs at high crash roadways in the Boyd Booth, Mount Clair, Union Square, Carrollton Ridge, Milton Montford, Madison Eastern, Elwood Park, and McElderry Park neighborhoods. So this is going to be a big one. We're going to be doing a lot of planning, a lot of design centric around that program. And then another large project that we have under design right now is the Washington Street corridor. This is going to be a 2.1 mile protected cycle track, two-way cycle track. That's going to deliver some traffic calming elements along Washington Street. And this will run north to south from Sinclair to Alisana. And so this is going to be another really big, exciting improvement to the kind of multimodal circulation in the area. Okay. And so next steps for this 2025 work plan is going to be finalizing some of the projects, making sure that we're including all of the exciting stuff that we're doing this year. And we are hoping to have that posted publicly in the next couple of weeks. So we encourage everybody, once this is posted, we'd love to hear some feedback. We'd love to see, what projects people are specifically excited about. This is something that we're really excited about producing and putting out, and delivering kind of an extra layer of transparency for what the city is doing and what the city is working on. I think we can go to the next slide. Great. So this is another big announcement. So Baltimore's Vision Zero Action Plan, which is set to be finalized either late this year or early next year. We're working very, very hard on it. Currently has a huge near miss survey that has been posted. It is live. We encourage everyone to engage with the near miss survey. The more people fill this out, the more people put data in there, the better our data will be. All of this data is going to be used to inform the big outcomes and deliverables of our Vision Zero action plan. And we are going to be sharing that out as it becomes available upon its completion. So I think now we're going to move over to the BMC Bikeable Baltimore project. Do we have somebody from BMC who would like to present this material?
Yes, I'm here, Sean.
Great.
Thank you so much. And we're actually going to feature the near miss survey in our upcoming active transportation newsletter that BMC sends out. So great to see that. I'm Charlene Mingus. I'm the active transportation planner at Baltimore Metropolitan Council, which is the Metropolitan Planning Organization for the Baltimore region. I've been here before, so you've probably seen me, but just wanted to give you an update on the project. This launched in December 2023. We have done some comment periods starting in the spring, and we did our second comment period in the fall, ending in January 10th of this year. So we got a lot of great comments from people. If you can go to the next slide. Great. We had an in-person public meeting and had great attendance and got a lot of good feedback from people. Also had a virtual meeting, good attendance. We had 600 comments on our online map, multiple survey responses, and lots of visits to the project website and story map, which are still live and available to view. Next slide. So this just kind of gives you a visual representation and a breakdown of the numbers of comments we got by jurisdiction. And Baltimore City, we had the largest number, which is great to see. Lots of comments on there. So we're currently reviewing those comments, looking at areas where the proposed regional bike network should be adjusted. Next slide. Yep, so reviewing the feedback, this will help us update the regional bike network and shape the implementation plan, which will include prioritization of projects and costing, and also will help us refine the performance measures that will help after the project ends to help us track the progress as the network is built out to make sure that we're meeting our goals and our timeline that we set out in this project. So we are also drafting responses to the survey comments that we've gotten, so kind of the key themes, so we can give more clarity to people. So keep an eye out for those. We'll be doing a lot of analysis work, working with our steering and advisory committees in the coming months. And then in June, maybe late May, we'll be sharing that regional bike network with all the implementation strategies, cost estimates, benefits analysis, and more. And yes, I can drop the link in the chat. So that's just a quick update on Bikeable Baltimore region. We appreciate all of our partners who helped share the comment period, the most recent comment period. I think it really helped us reach a wider audience. So thank you. Let me grab that link.
Thank you, Charlene, and thank you, BMC. We're really excited to continue working with you guys on this project. I think it's going to have a lot of great deliverables to connectivity and future planning. So excited to see what comes out of it. We're going to move really quickly to the community updates. Looks like we're a little shy on some of the community updates and events right now, but the Baltimore Bike Party is, of course, this Friday. And then we also have the Rails to Trails quarterly meeting, and that will be February 25th at 6 p.m. Feel free, my team, to put any more of the location information in the chat in case people are interested in attending those. And then I think we can go, I don't know, do we want to see if we have any anyone who wanted to boost their own event? I can give us a little bit to allow people to come off mute and maybe plug something happening in Baltimore City.
Hi there. I'll take advantage of that opportunity if I can.
Sure.
Thanks. My name is Colin Murphy. I help lead Bike Social Baltimore, which is a weekly ride. We ride every Friday night. You can visit us on Facebook or Instagram. And the goal is to just get folks out riding. It's okay if you are not super experienced or you don't have to be a super experienced level or anything like that. It's a no drop ride. It's inclusive. It's fun for everybody. And we ride every Friday night, starting in Canton. We do a pickup in Canton. We do a pickup in Upper Fells, and then we do a pickup over in Federal Hill. And on Bike Party Fridays, we ride to the start of Bike Party together. I see Councilman Jones is on this call, and hopefully we're hoping to plan a ride sometime in the spring, inviting all new city council members and their staff to come out and ride and survey infrastructure, and maybe ride up Washington Street or Wolf Street and see what the before and after will be like, or any of the new projects that are being planned. But that all being said, we ride every Friday night. So if you visit us on Facebook or Instagram, you can get information about the weekly rides. That's Bike Social Baltimore.
Thanks, Colin. If you would like, feel free to put the link to that in the chat so that people can find your event. Okay. Do we have anybody else?
I'm here.
Hi, Miss Carey.
Hi. I'm so glad that I'm on this meeting because I have a burning question. And I think it's for the gentleman who just spoke about the bike party. So what should I do?
Well, is the question about an event?
It's about the bike party.
If you would like to, sure, you can ask your question about the bike party.
Okay, so I didn't get the gentleman's name. But I wanted to talk to him about the bike party that was on Glens Falls Parkway. I think it was back in June. And I was so nervous and concerned about the bikers because they didn't stop for any lights. They didn't stop at intersections. And the traffic was backed up. The buses, the cars, everything was backed up. And so I was just worried. I Everybody was having a good time, and I wanted to have a good time just watching them. But I worried that there was not um, anyone at the intersection, just to keep the traffic back or hold it at bay. So how does that work when you go through neighborhoods and you don't adhere to the traffic signals that vehicles adhere to? So you don't automatically have the right of way. So I worry about that. And that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Miss Carey. I'm happy to drop my email in the chat. Happy to talk about
Okay.
this maybe offline.
Yeah.
Right now, I think what we're specifically looking for is upcoming events. But your
Okay.
question is important. So I will put my email in the chat. Feel free to reach out directly to me, okay?
Okay. What's your name?
My name is Sean Burnett.
Oh, you're Sean. Okay. Thank you so
Yes,
much
ma'am.
because that's been worrying me a lot. It just
Okay.
worried me. It must have been 100 people
Sometimes more.
and sometimes
Um,
more.
that's right. Okay. Um, Well, it doesn't look like we have any other big burning events, so I'll go ahead and move us to the last slide. So for 2025, these are some of our upcoming MBAC meetings. The next time we will meet will be April 30th, and then we will meet July 30th, and then, of course, October 29th. We couldn't keep it on the 30th, I guess, all 3 months. With that being said, the MBAC presentation is over. Ellen, I don't know if you wanted to close us out or maybe open us up for questions.
Thank you for that, Sean. So yes, we're going to go ahead and take a few questions because we did run a quick this time around. Typically, our meetings do run at least an hour or better, but we did streamline the process. As you saw, we were able to provide some concrete updates on projects that will be coming down the pipeline, and we plan on doing that a lot more as we go forward. We also, as we are identifying, and once the commissioners have been appointed, we will definitely be opening it up for the opportunity for the commissioners to also contribute to this meeting that we're having, so that if there's anything that from their perspective, because they are representing, at large, the business community, architectural, engineering, bicycling. So if there are anything that the commissioners will have in the future, we will have the opportunity for them to present as well. So with that, we will open it up for about 5 minutes or so to answer any questions that you may have around projects that have been presented today, or if there is a project that you would like for us to be able to come back to you later and provide additional information. And with that, I see that I have two hands. I'm going to go with Graham, and then I'm going to come back to Ms. Worthy.
Hi, my name is Graham Carell Allen, and I rely on a bicycle to get around Baltimore City, where I've lived for 16 years. And I live on Auchentrolley Terrace, which is an 8-lane highway. We've been working with various elected officials and DOT on planning efforts to transform this into a complete street one day, which will be marvelous. In the meantime, I am looking forward to improvements to the big jump, which has been in a dire state of disrepair and quite dangerous for people on foot, scooter, and bicycle to use. I know I was on the Complete Streets meeting yesterday, but I need to reiterate once again to this committee that the state of the big jump is unfortunately quite substandard and dangerous for those of us who use it to get across the Jones Falls Expressway. All the plastic, previously water-filled barriers are mostly cracked, and they get jostled and knocked around by cars, and those end up in the lane, in the walking and biking lane, and it can be very difficult to get around that, especially for people who are less able-bodied than me, like wheelchair users or folks pushing strollers. So I really do just want to stress the urgency from the community side as to replacing those degraded, dangerous plastic pieces of barrier that are left with the concrete barriers, which I understand as of the discussion yesterday, we do not have a timeline yet on when the concrete barriers will be introduced. And that's just a real urgent situation. And it's not fair to people, who rely on the big jump to get around town. And then, in terms of just, I missed the first 10 minutes, so I missed the update on Utah, but I am curious, when will Utah Place get built? Because that would be another great connection for folks on the west side, northwest Baltimore, getting downtown. I've personally been attacked for riding my bike down, from my neighborhood, Mondawmin, downtown, and been rammed by other people on the street. And I think having a protected bike lane on Utah would establish a safer pathway where people like myself won't get chased or punched or rammed. And so that is also a very urgent thing and an equity issue, because we don't have any bike lanes in West Baltimore. So I guess the question is, will Utah be happening anytime soon? Will we actually have any bike lanes constructed in the year 2025? Thank you.
Thank you for that, Graham. So I am going to turn that over to our DOT team. Are we able to respond to that? Graham mentioned the Complete Streets meeting that occurred yesterday. And so we did have a little bit of updates regarding the Jersey wall / concrete barriers that we're looking to update. But is there a timeline on when we can actually clean up the ones that are there and replace any broken ones to make sure that it is aligned and still safe for folks to use? Do we have any updates on that we can share?
Thanks, Alan. So we are working very hard on the designs right now, on the changeover right now, and I'll let Ms. Hanslick, who is the project manager for this, maybe directly address some of these. But right now, the big concerns are design and acquisition of the materials. We're working to acquire the materials, align kind of like our maintenance teams with when the rollout will occur. Unfortunately, at this time, we do not have a set date that we are comfortable with sharing yet. However, what I can say is that we share your concerns and we are working diligently and as quickly as possible to make this changeover. As for the Utah Street facility, the Utah Street facility is in design. We are going to be bringing that up, I believe, to 100% this year, with the goal of going to construction in the very near future, if not next year. As for, are we building any new bike lanes this year? Candidly, I did not inherit any 100% designs when I started as the capital planning chief about 4 or 5 months ago. So what we are doing right now is I have gathered pretty much every single project that was in some phase of design, and I am prioritizing them to be rushed to 100% as quickly as possible so that we can begin building some of these facilities as quickly as possible. I can't promise that we will be able to build any of those this year. However, we would like to, and we are going full force, full speed, trying to generate as many of these finalized designs as we can.
Awesome. Well, thank you for those updates. And I do appreciate everything that y'all are doing. I know everyone's working really hard, and it's just that there's a lot going on. So I recognize that everyone's doing a great job. I wanted to add one thing with regards to Druid Park Lake Drive, which was resurfaced recently and restriped. That's marvelous. Thank you all. I know a lot of car drivers as well really appreciate that because it was pretty rough condition. One of the things I noticed while it was happening, the line striper was out there. They were putting in the old style non-compliant traverse crosswalks, just like the two thin lines at Druid Park Lake Drive and Madison. And I noticed this and I brought it to their attention. I said, those need to be continental high visibility crosswalks. And they said, well, we're just following plans. And they pointed me to a DOT supervisor who was down at, I want to say, Linden or so. And so I went over there and I spoke with him. And he said, well, these are the plans that we have. And these were like clearly not compliant with the complete streets law, and not at all what we were expecting. But I alerted this to them, and then so there were a few crosswalks left to be done, like a Utah place. They did the high visibility style, but we still have 3 brand new non-compliant crosswalks at Druid Park Lake Drive and Madison, just the 2 thin lines, and those are not compliant with the law, and that's not what I understood was to be part of the design. So I'm hoping that those can get removed and properly restriped soon. So that's just a tidbit I wanted to add. Thank you all.
Thanks, Graham. We have already spoken. Traffic is aware of the incongruity, and I believe that they are coming up with a strategy on how to address it as quickly as possible.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Graham. All right, so I'm going to go to Ellen, and then I also see that we have Suzanne had her hand up. So, Ellen?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good, good. Sorry, I had a technical problem before. Okay, I want to give you guys the same lecture that I gave the micro-mobility people on January 8th. So forgive me if I'm repeating myself if you were at that meeting. I've taken an interest in road deaths, and we had a real bloodbath at the end of 2024 where on Bel Air Road, 3 people died due to a road death. So I started looking at maps and everything, and the one thing that really does slow down traffic, because we have a traffic speed problem, is when we add and install protected bike lanes. That's kind of a big a notification to drivers to slow down. But for some reason, the DOT has an allergy when it comes to Bel Air Road. You're doing projects everywhere, but we have this big main artery that heads into the northeast in Bel Air, and there's almost no bike lanes on there. And the cars drive really fast. And I think that neighborhood could really benefit from bike lanes. I'm also looking at other places where there's road deaths. And we're going down into Curtis Bay where there's big problems. Out into the northwest on Northern Parkway, there's some big problems out there. So I'm starting to keep track of where pedestrians and cyclists die. So I would like to know, what are we going to do about Bel Air Road?
Well, thank you very much for that question. For that, I'm going to turn that back over to Mr. Burnett to kind of talk about some of the plans that DOT has been working on around this.
Thanks for those questions, Ms. Worthing. So we are obviously aware of some of the safety issues across the city. Bel Air is one of the many places where we have concerns. What I will say is that we have a comprehensive vision for our own mapping. The near miss survey is certainly an exciting and new piece of that work. Through the Vision Zero Action Plan, we are going to be working on how to shorten our timeline to come up with some more immediate responses to some of these emergencies, as you pointed out. As for what we have in plan this year for Bel Air Road, we do not have any cycling facilities planned for it. However, my email is still in the chat. If you would like to send me a direct email, I believe that traffic is aware of the concerns and is in some stage of design for future modifications. So right at this point, there is no bike lane planned for that portion. However, I believe that we are addressing it through other means of traffic safety.
Oh yeah, you are, because I'm the one that went crazy asking for a speed camera out there. There were no speed cameras on Bel Air Road. I mean, you're basically dealing with nothing and then wondering why all these people are being murdered out there by vehicles. So I think in these arteries that we have that are on the outskirts of town need a lot more examination of whether bike lanes and speed cameras would be a benefit to the people who live in these outer neighborhoods. We need to start going outward so that, everybody has the advantage of bike lanes and slower traffic.
Well heard.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So thank you for that. I will go ahead and turn it over to Suzanne, who also had her hand up.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for these reports and for all your hard work to make biking accessible here in Baltimore. I am like the other person. I bike almost everywhere. And my concern with putting in bike lanes, which I'm happy about, is the issue that I regularly face where government vehicles from Baltimore are parked in the bike lanes, whether that's BPD, DGS, and I really don't see it stopping. So I report them to 311 on a regular basis, but I get frustrated because when I go up Fayette and President on a regular basis, there's a BPD vehicle parked in the bike lane. So whenever you all are working within the city government, what advocacy are y'all doing to prevent the government from parking in the bike lanes? I mean, I think the bike lanes are great. The city of Baltimore employees don't respect them and the safety of bikers. There's really not much point in putting them in. So what is DOT's efforts in, first of all, stopping it, because it doesn't appear that they're going to be fined, but preventing them from parking in the bike lanes? And it seems to be the same areas. President and Pratt, they're at a hotel regularly. People are parked in the bike lane. And my saying is being a Baltimore City resident, it's like my side hustle. It's like a part-time job. I have to like report people parked in bike lanes, but I really don't see the enforcement. I really don't see the fines. So I think having more data on the reporting of bike lane violations and the number that are actually getting a fine. And how else can we handle this? I know in other places, like buses have a camera and they take pictures of vehicles parked in bus lanes and then ticket them instead of somebody having to come out. But what can we do to have this infrastructure that we're putting in for the safety of bikers work for us? And I appreciate the response.
Yes, ma'am. So thank you for all of that. Much appreciated. And you are correct. We've witnessed that ourselves. And one of the things that we've been working on, I'll just share a couple of internal things that we have been working on from a DOT perspective. We recognize that enforcement was not happening in a timely fashion, meaning that once you called as a concerned citizen, it may take a response of, anywhere between an hour or better before someone actually shows up. Well, at that point, whom the violator probably has moved. And that was due to resource restraints. However, we have recently hired, I believe, 27 new traffic enforcement officers that will be deployed. They've been going through training over the month of January, and we should expect to see them out in the field starting in February. So you will see an increased number of traffic enforcement officers that are out there. But a couple of other things that you did mention about the cameras. That was one of the things that we actually are pushing legislation for in the general sessions right now, to get the ability to be able to, one, put those cameras on our buses. That includes our circulator buses that we actually control, as well as partner with MTA to see if we can put those types of cameras on their buses as well. So they would actually capture, one, those folks who are parked in the bus lane, as well as capture any violations that are occurring in the bike lanes as they're passing by. This will give us the ability to ticket them without actually having to jump out the car. So it'd be similar to like a red light or a speed camera, where we'll capture the information, we'll have a picture of the violation, and be able to actually send a ticket to start enforcing this. So these are some of the things that we are working on behind the scenes to try to encourage more compliance with these bus and bike lanes, so folks aren't parking there and basically violating the rules and not allowing people to use it the way that it should be. But these are some of the things that are coming down the pipeline right now. But we appreciate it. Continue to put those calls in, because that's going to help us as we are targeting the resources and we want to make sure we are hitting the areas that are experiencing the highest frequency of violations.
So what about the government vehicles that are, it seems to
Well,
me,
that's
aren't
something
fine,
internally,
the
yes. So
BPD, the BP
we can actually ticket them as
especially.
well. So
You
I
can
think
what?
we can actually ticket them as well.
Hey, I would like to see a report on how many get tickets.
Well, right now, I don't have a report for you. That's what the whole point was, is that we did not have the resources to be able to get there in a timely fashion. So we will have those resources. That is something that we are definitely concerned with and are working towards addressing. But that is also something that we are working with BPD to make sure that they understand that they too must adhere to these rules unless they are responding to an emergency situation that would negate them being able to do that. But otherwise, they should be also following the rules and regulations when it comes to parking.
And I'll say the last two comments. So with the bill in the legislative session, would that include a 311 report with a picture with the license plate of the vehicle parked in the bike lane? And then secondly, the police, whenever I ask them why they're parked in the bike lane, I think they need to define emergency, right? So they just say they're there for a call, but that's not really an emergency. So I mean, I think that needs to be more clearly defined so that they can't just use that as an excuse while they're standing around chatting and the rest of us have to drive out of the bike lane.
No,
Yeah,
all
thank
great
you so
points.
much. Thank
So
you.
thank you for that.
Sure.
All right. I think we had a couple of more hands up. And I do apologize. I didn't see the order in which the hands went up, so I am going to go with Ms. Claiborne.
Good evening. I just so chance got on this Zoom thinking that I was on for another meeting, but I'm glad that I stayed on. Not that I'm opposed to bus or bike lanes, but I think the headache or the irritation with some people are that the bike lanes are so wide on narrower streets, where there may be cars going 2 lanes one way each way. And for instance, North Avenue and Harford Road, where those streets are busier streets and the bike lane is taking up the road, whereas though there's no longer 2 lanes for cars to go through. So it causes more congestions with the cars. And so at some point, I think people are so frustrated with parking and everything that they may park in the bike lane and or bus lane. I see people on North Avenue riding the bus lane all the way down. I can understand the frustration when you only have one lane to turn left or right, causing more traffic congestion for the other cars that need to go straight. Whereas though before you had 2 lanes for people to turn right or left, now you only have 1 lane. I'm not opposed to the bike lanes, but some of them are way too wide. When you come up, I think this is Holland Street, and I'm making a left-right turn on to, I think this is Mount. It might be Mount Street, I believe it is. In order to turn, I have to widen the turn to be in the other person's lane, coming as I'm going right, coming right, and I'm going. I want to tell you, I think I'm going northbound. They're coming southbound, but I got to use the southbound lane to turn because the bike lane is so widened in the street that it narrows the driver's lane, if that makes any sense to you.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely makes sense to us. I'm going to let Sean kind of weigh in a little bit on that. It sounds like more of an observation than a question, but I want to give Sean the opportunity to kind of weigh in from a planning perspective, what their thoughts are there.
Thanks, Alan. And thank you, Mrs. Claiborne, for that question. I think one of the important things that you pointed out was that some of the bike lanes make the road feel a little narrower. I want to emphasize that that is part of the benefit of bike lanes. Traffic vehicles, as they move through residential or otherwise pedestrian heavy streets, if they feel like they have too much room, they typically will drive too fast. They'll drive in a way where they feel psychologically comfortable to do so. Our bike lanes, the width of them is determined by our legal responsibility. We have certain things, engineering guidelines, as well as legal guidelines for how much space we have to give cyclists for them to be able to use those lanes safely. The added benefit in many areas is that it does, in fact, squeeze a little bit the vehicular part of the road. I understand that sometimes this can feel like it slows you down, creates added congestion, maybe makes the road feel a little less comfortable to drive on. Those are, in many ways, benefits to the people who live around those areas. I don't know about you, but when I live on a street where the street is very wide and it feels like people are very comfortable driving quickly on it, it can feel at times like a hostile place to live. Hearing cars accelerate very quickly, being out walking with my children or my dog, and seeing vehicles move at speeds that are too fast to react to, is something that we, through an externality of the bike lanes, try to address. I think if you're running across particular problems at certain addresses where maybe you feel like the way that things are set up are fundamentally unsafe, I encourage you to, my email's still in the chat, to reach out directly to me, and we can go ahead and have traffic double check those things. We don't want people to be in danger, but I think traffic moving slower in a lot of instances where you have areas where people are trying to cross the street by foot, people are on their bikes, people are also trying to get home in their cars. We want all modes of transit to move just a little bit slower and a little bit safer. So I want to thank you again for your question and your comments.
Okay, last comment. I clearly heard what you said, but my thought process is in seeing people driving when they're speeding up the bus lane, speeding in the bus lane, and or making fast turns, is not necessarily slowing things up. You may think it's psychologically to the driver to slow down, but if you pay attention, some of those little pillars that created for the bike lane are down. I guess they little I don't know what you call them, little stands. They're real thin, but I see plenty of them smashed in the street, halfway down or whatever. So that's just something for you guys to think about. I'm not here to keep you all night and to go back and forth. It's not something that's, to me, making the city any prettier. I don't even think that we seem to have as many bikers as you have the lane. And I know people may disagree. I'm just saying, on my point of view, when I look through West Baltimore and Northwest Baltimore, and we see people possibly riding a bike, you don't see as many people in those bike lanes to warrant it, in my mind, seeing as though when I lived in Germany or in Washington State, where people tend to ride bikes way more seemingly, here, it seems like it's not as prevalent here as it is in places that they do use them more often seemingly.
Okay. Thank you for that. All right, I did see we had another question up, and if it's okay, I'm going to move to the next person. I believe Melanie had their hand up. Melanie, do you still have a question? Okay. All right. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and close out today's session. I want to thank everybody for your time today. Very thoughtful conversation, very insightful questions, things for us to take back to the table to make sure that we are prepared for our next discussion. If you do have any questions that come up regarding this, you have the ability to reach out to us. I think Sean dropped his email in the chat. You can definitely reach us out on the MBAC website, and we will be able to respond to you accordingly. So with that, I want to wish everyone a very productive rest of your evening, rest of your week, and look forward to talking to you very soon. Please be safe, and hopefully some folks will come out and enjoy the bike party this weekend. Have an awesome one.
Thank you. Have a